Okay, so this is one of the 7-segment display ones, so we only care about 10 rows. And so we have 6 more outputs that we get to choose ourselves. You have to do A and D for the lab, so I'm not going to do A or D, but pick one of the other letters. Let me pick one of the other letters. F. Okay, thank you. So we'll do F. And see what we get for an F. Okay, so it's 1 0 0 0. So that's 1 0 0 and 0. So that was here. I will make them blue. Then the next ones I'll make kind of an orangey color, a yellow, and that goes here. 1 1 1. Sort of the third one's always skip and come back. And then these two here, I'll make, I don't know, green, and they go here. 1 1, and they are green. So that's from here. That was this kind of yellow, and this was from that blue. That's the same blue or not, I don't care. Okay, there we go. Okay, so that's what we have. There are 6 things that we get to fill in what we want. We want to fill them in to make large groups. So let's start trying to make large groups. And the one thing we have to make sure we don't do is make any extra groups. You don't want to make extra groups. So we're going to pick a 1. Let's start up here in the corner again and try to put that in a group. I can match them up with, I can't go across because there's a 0. I can't wrap around because there's a 0. So I can't go to his immediate neighbor on the right. I can't sort of wrap around to this guy. He's a 0, but below there's a 1. So I have at least a pair. I always ask myself, can I do better? Can I make it a foursome? And I have that position here, which I'm allowed to choose what I want. And so if I choose it to be a 1, then I will have a foursome, and the bigger the group, the more the simplification. So I will choose this to be a 1. Can it be an 8? No, because of this 0 blocking me. So my first thing for segment F here, and now then I don't need what's up there anymore. So the first thing I have is this all rows first column. All rows first column. That's a group. Can't spell. All rows first column, and let's write down what that is. And W changes. W was 0 and sometimes 0 and sometimes 1. X was sometimes 0 and sometimes 1. Y and Z were always the same. They change from one column to the other, but I'm only ever in the first column, and they're both 0s. So that is a Y prime Z prime. And I've taken care of these guys. They're allowed to be in other groups, but but they are accounted for. So let's find the next one that I want to deal with. So here's a 1 I'd like to deal with. I can't go up. There's a 0. I can't go over to the right. There's a 0. I can go over to on the other side onto the left, and that gives me a pair. And then can I go down? Yes, I can, because this is the one's under my control. I can make it a 1, and so I can make this a foursome. And can I do better and make it 8? No, I can't, because of that 0. So I'm going to choose this one to be a 1. And what do I have? I have second and third row, the first and second column. So second and third row, first and second column. And what is that? I'm going to add that. So I'm here. Those for those two middle rows, W changes, I throw it away. X is always a 1. I'm going to keep it. It's going to be an X. Y in these first two columns is 0 in both cases, so I'm going to keep it. The Z changes. I'm going to throw it away. So I'm going to keep X and Y. X is 1, Y is 0, so it's XY prime. And I've dealt with these two. I have two more ones to deal with. Let's go with this yellow one over here. Above him is a 0, to the left of him is a 0. If I sort of go to the right and wrap around, there's a 1, so I can pair him up with this guy. I always ask, can I do better? Can I go down? Yes, I can make a foursome of this one, this one, this one, and this one. So I'll choose to do that. And can I do any better? If I'm doing better than that, I would either have to go up, which I can't do because of the 0, or over, which I can't do because of that 0. So that's as good as it gets. And so I am in the second and third row again. And this time I'm in the first and last column. And so what happens to my inputs? The W changes, so I throw it away. The X remains the same, and it's a 1. And then I'm in the first and last column. The Y changes, but the Z is 0. Z stays the same and is 0, so Z prime. And then that's these two guys. There's one I haven't accounted for. That's this guy down here. What am I going to do with him? He's in a foursome already. He's in a foursome already. And then I ask, can I do better? And what's better than a foursome? An octet, all 8. And I have available that whole row. I have control over these 3 remaining spots. I can make this an octet. I don't want to do that until I have to. You got to be careful not to introduce an extra group. So this is the last 2 rows, all columns. That is an octet, so I'm going to lose 3 things and only keep 1. W stayed the same, that's what I'm keeping. The X changed, the Y changed, the Z changed, so that's just plus W. And there is my expression, sort of, again, using my don't cares to make big groups. Again, some people will say they're the don't cares, so make them zeros, so I don't have to deal with them. But you want big groups, and so you often make your don't cares 1s to put people into big groups. What you have to be careful of is that you don't introduce an extra group that you didn't need. So you might have a very big group, but you might have a very big group that you didn't need. So that's the one thing to be careful of. Okay, so let's stop.